Hey, what's going on, folks? Welcome back to the Real Legend of Gaming. In today's video, we will be discussing how to go about choosing your first character inside of Path of Exiles. We're going to explain all the character classes, the attributes associated with each character, and also give you some insight on the Ascendant classes, which is basically the evolution for each character that you choose. So now, let's get into this video, folks. Alright, so there are 7 character classes in Path of Exile. 6 of them are available right away. You'll see that upon loading up the game, you'll be met with the option of choosing which one you'll carry forward in your journey. The 7th character you'll unlock after Act 3, and that's probably the most well-rounded character in the game. Now, as far as what's available now, right, because most of us are starting this journey because the game just came out on the PS4, I'm going to provide you now the attributes for each class. So the Marauder's attribute is Strength, the Ranger's attribute is Dexterity, the Witch's attribute is Intelligence, the Duelist's attribute is Strength and Dexterity, the Shadow's attribute is Dexterity and Intelligence, the Templar's attribute is Intelligence and Strength, and the Scion, which is the character that you unlock later in the game, has all attributes, Dexterity, Intelligence, and Strength. Now, what do these attributes mean? I'm going to explain that to you as well. Alright, so for Strength, the defining characteristics are in your character's melee damage and health. It also determines if you can use some heavier weapons and armor, and every 10 points in strength translates to +5 in life and 2% physical melee damage. So basically, the characters that have the attribute Strength tend to be your more tankier units, and also your biggest damage dealers. Dexterity governs an Exile's agility and weapon use. Skills in this tree usually make your character faster, more adept with small, quick weapons, or improved dodging. Every 10 points in Dexterity grants +20 to accuracy and +2% to evasion. Intelligence signifies one aptitude in using magic, causing elemental damage and total mana pool. Every 10 points in Intelligence grants +5 mana and 2% energy shield. Now, these characters also fall into what's called pure classes, hybrid classes, and I'll just give you a quick rundown on that, and then we'll discuss the characters in specifics on what they bring to the table. So the pure classes are going to be the Marauder, the Ranger, and the Witch, and these characters have one attribute that they're associated with. The hybrid classes gives you a style of 2 different attributes, and that's the Duelist, the Shadow, and the Templar. Alright, so now let's explain these character classes. Alright, so if you're a player that likes to just smash everything in the arena, destroy, do massive damage, take a ton of damage, then a Marauder is going to be a good character for you, right? The Marauder essentially ascends to what's called Juggernaut, which is a defense-oriented tank. Then it can transform into the Berserker, which is a high damage and low defense unit, or it can ascend to Chieftain, which is a fire damage tank with totems. Now the Ranger is what I consider to be kind of like the Archer. It gives you the option to shoot projectiles from a distance. So very agile, very fast, but very squishy, right? It's gonna lack that strength to take damage. Now the Ranger can ascend into Deadeye, which is fast and hard to hit with high damage, Raider, which is a buff specialist, and then Pathfinder, which is a flexible flash specialist. And then you have the Witch, which from what I understand is kind of like a dark mage. So she's able to use elemental and dark arts to cast spells on units. Now her Ascendancy Classes is going to be Necromancer, which is minions and lots of minions. So you're going to be able to summon a lot of spawn units around you to help you attack. Similar to the Necromancer in Diablo. You can turn into Elementalist, which is standard elemental mage with golems. And then you also have the Occultist, which is chaos damage and curse specialist. So she kind of reminds me of the Necromancer and the Witch Doctor inside of Diablo, so gives you some insight of the type of character she is, which that kind of catches my attention, to be honest with you. Then you have the Duelist. So the Duelist is a combination of strength and dexterity. It gives you a quick fighter who can dodge very well and deal a lot of damage to opponents. So it's a well-rounded character. And the Duelist can can ascend into Slayer, which is a 2-handed weapon specialist with sustained damage. Gladiator, which is a 1-handed weapon specialist with affinity for the bleed AoE. And Champion, which is a tank with strong taunts and defense. Then you have the Shadow. Shadow is a very lethal character that combines strong parts of dexterity and intelligence. They use blades with surgical precision, and they're very fast, and they're able to outmaneuver the fastest agiles of beasts. Now, their Ascendancy classes is going to be Assassin, which is a high damage critical strike specialist, Saboteur, which is a trap and mine specialist, and Trickster, which is a flexible damage dealer with DLTs and poison. Shadow sounds really fun to use, to be honest with you guys. And then last but not least, you got Templar. So the Templar is a strength and intelligence hybrid, so they can receive and withstand heavy damage, but they also can do a comfortable amount of damage to be used on the front line. Now the Templar can ascend to Inquisitor, which is elemental damage dealer standing on consecrated ground, Hierophant, which is a spellcaster and totem user, and Guardian, which is a support specialist and tank. So now that you guys understand the characters, understand the attributes, and understand what they're going to ascend to, make your choice and let me know in the comment section who you're going to use and play with. I'm going to make my decision right now for you guys, and I'll probably follow up with more guides and maybe even some playthroughs. But looking at everything, I'm stuck on choosing between the Duelist, the Ranger, and Shadow. Those are the three that are catching my attention. I like the fact the Ranger's like an archer, keep a safe distance, but still do a lot of damage for your team. But the Duelist has some really cool combinations, like the fact that you can do two-handed weapon attacks. You could eventually become a tank and be able to taunt and defend against units. But then the Shadow, what really catches my attention is then you can become a trap and mine specialist. I don't know, folks. I think I just made my decision. So I'm going to go with Shadow. Again, let me know in the comment section what you choose. And also let me know what type of guides you want to see going forward, all right? So I appreciate all the support. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed the content, then slap the like button. And if you want more Path of Exile, then hit the subscribe button. Because on this channel, we cover game guides and reviews for console and mobile games. All right, so other than that, peace out.